It is now 7 o'clock. I would like to call the Rockdale County Board of Education regular session to order. Please help me welcome Ms. Kim Veer, principal of Lorraine Elementary School, and Scholar Christian Evans as they deliver our inspirational message. After delivering your message, young man, will you kindly lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Good evening, Board Chairwoman Jackson Lett, Vice Chairwoman Jones, members of the Exemplary School Board, Superintendent Chesser. I am Kim Veer, the principal of Lorraine Elementary School, and it is my distinct honor to introduce to you Christian Evans, a fourth grade student at Lorraine Elementary. Christian is a student in Ms. Pfeiffer Hardy's class, and last semester he was our school's upper elementary school district showcase representative. And today or tonight, he is going to present to you Echoes of Greatness.
Echoes of Greatness, Authors Anonymous. Through trials deep and battles long, a people rose, steadfast and strong, with chains once bound, yet spirits free. They carved a path for you and me, from ancient lands where kingdoms reigned, to stolen shores where hope remained. They built a world with hands so worn, yet in their hearts new dreams were born. Harriet ran with fearless stride, guiding souls to the other side. Martin dreamed and dared to stand with justice burning in his hand. Malcolm spoke with fire untamed and lit a spark that still remains. Through every trial, loss and tear, their voices whisper loud and clear. Black history, it lives, it beats, it sings. A legacy of queens and kings. So walk with pride, stand bold and stand tall. For you, my friends, inherit it all.
Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved, Janie Jones.
A second?
Second, Justin.
A motion to approve the agenda has been made by Vice Chairwoman Janie Jones and second by Mr. Justin Kenny. Is there any discussion? All in favor? The motion is approved, a 6-0 vote. Next, please join me in welcoming Rockdale Career Academy led by Dr. Corey Williams as they present their school overview.
Good afternoon, Board Chairwoman Sandra Jackson-Lett, Superintendent Shirley Chesser, board members, and cabinet. I'm Dr. Corey Williams, the principal CEO of the Rockdale Career Academy, and I want to share some of the amazing things that we're doing this year. So I would be remiss if I don't talk about the district priorities, about the A, B, C, D, E's, and I'm going to be talking about the A, the C, and the E, which is attendance, content, and engagement, and some of the amazing things we're doing here at RCA. So first, when I talk about attendance, we are launched our Attendance Matters campaign. Superintendent Shirley Chesser came to our Attendance Matters kickoff with ice cream, where we purchased about 1,126 ice cream cups to give out to students. So for our Attendance Matters campaign, any student that is present a full week, the next following week, we either honor them with being in a drawing for a gift card, or we also give them ice cream. So for the first month, we did an ice cream party. The next month, we're also doing a pizza party, and in between, we do gift cards because we're really trying to promote attendance and having students in the classroom, because we know when they're in the classroom, that's when they're learning. So we're really excited to really kick off this campaign. And next thing I want to do is talk about content. Last year, we piloted our AP African American Studies, and I know we always talking about being the best in the state, but for AP African American Studies, not only did we beat the Georgia average for 3 or higher surpassing, We also beat the global average for passing with 85.7% of our students passing the AP African American Studies test. Oh, and it also gets better. For our AP seminar students, we not only did we beat the Georgia average, we also beat the global average, and we had an average of 90.5% of our students passing the AP seminar test with a 3 or higher. This really shows that when we're talking about achievement, our Rockdale County Public School students can compete not only on the state level, but the global level, and we're doing some amazing things in our classrooms around here. Now, next, I also want to talk about our dual enrollment. Our biggest push this year is that every student is a dual enrollment student. Many times for dual enrollment, we look at English 101 classes, academic classes, but we're really focusing on bringing in those CTAE courses for students to get some type of certification when they walk across that stage. So 3 years ago, we only had 58 students that were in a dual enrollment class that was aligned to CTAE, which was early childhood education and welding. Now we've added CNA, HVAC, mechatronics, and this year, cybersecurity and nursing. That means we have 171 kids taking over 855 dual enrollment classes in 1 year, and they've saved over $700,000 in tuition at RCA this year. Yes. In each one of these areas on the governor's high demand career list, and all these jobs, once you get your technical certificate of credit, you can go straight to the workforce at 18 and start making at minimum $40,000 an hour at 18 years old. It's an amazing program, and we're happy to be able to offer all these classes and possibly adding more next year at the Rockdale Career Academy. Next, we've added some certifications. We have phlebotomy now, which is an ever-growing field in hospitals where we have phlebotomy. After this presentation, I have a QR code. Anybody want to volunteer for free sticks for drawing blood? Anybody want to be the first one? Okay, no. So we do have phlebotomy coming. We also have surgical technicians, small animal grooming, and we also are getting certification on automotive equipment, which is a wheel balancer and tire changer, to where they can go straight to the workforce and work at a service center such as a Nissan dealership or work at a Jiffy Lube. So with the total between our new certifications and with our dual enrollment, 301 students will walk across that stage with a state certification to be able to enter the workforce. 301. Our goal is that equity of opportunity, that any student that decides to come to RCA, and we have 2,100 students, to try to find them a path to where they can get some type of certification. Even if they want to go to college, they have a fallback and they have a skill that never can be taken away from them, and they can earn a living in a life. So really excited about that. I also want to talk about our barbering and nail technician program. When we piloted this 2 years ago, we only had 15 kids in our barbering program. Between our barber and nail tech program, we have over 124 students who, if they pass the state master barber or nail technician exam, we will gift them a free LLC, and we will also pay for their exam. So they will be business owners when they graduate from RCA. So we're really excited about that. And lastly, because I know y'all know I like to talk, but I want to bring in one of my students, Trenton Peters. He's a third-year barbering student, and when he came and told me his story, I said he just had to share it with y'all about him being in barbering. So I'll call Trenton, come up, share your testimony.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Trenton Peters, and I'm truly honored to have the chance to speak on behalf of Rockdale Career Academy tonight. For a long time, sports are my focus. I played football and I ran track, and I thought my future would always be tied to athletics. Sports gave me lessons in discipline, hard work, and how to compete, but everything started to change once I joined the Rockdale Career Academy barbering program. At first, I'll be honest, I wasn't really focused on barbering. Last year, I saw it as just another class and something to get through. But all that changed because of my teacher, Miss Lyles. She didn't just teach me how to cut hair, she pushed me to grow as a person. She showed me the importance of professionalism, responsibility, and maturity. She believed in me even when I wasn't giving my best effort. And because of her influence, I started to believe in myself too. Now barbering is just something I do. It's my passion. I've discovered that being a barber is about much more than hair. It's about building relationships, giving people confidence, and creating a craft I can be proud of. And thanks to RCA and the guidance of Ms. Lyles, I now have a dream I'm working toward, becoming a celebrity barber and building a career around something I truly love. Rockdale Career Academy has completely changed the way I see my future, and I'm thankful for the opportunities it gives students like me. And I hope the program continues to grow so other people can find their passion like I did. I want to thank RCA, my parents, the staff, and especially Ms. Lyles helped me find my purpose and helped me grow into the person I'm becoming today. Thank you.
And there's three things that he really said here that for students, that when students find their purpose and they find their passion and they have a joy, they definitely will be learning in the classroom. And I'm so happy and humbled that he was able to choose Rockdale Career Academy #1 coming to our program, and he's doing amazing things in our program. And I'm so glad we had that opportunity to be able to find his passion, and also the board and everybody was supporting this program and everything that we do here at RCA. And then next, I like to have this quote is that people do not know what they want until you show them. It's our job to read things that are not on the page yet. Sometimes we have to put a saw in a kid's hand. We have to put a blowtorch. We have to let them change the transmission, and then they find that passion to say, this is what I want to do. Those are the opportunities and that light bulb and that passion we try to spark at every student at RCA. Next, also with our entrepreneurship, we are launching our RCA student enterprises. Well, not only are we trying to foster them getting into a CTA pathway and finding a passion, we want them to be business owners. So we're launching 7 small businesses here at RCA with the RCA catering, our barbershop, print shop, bark and bath, where you can come in and we get your dogs groomed. We don't do cats, we do dogs. We got our teacher toolkit, which will be like the Etsy shop for our elementary school teachers. The pit stop, where a lot of people are excited, you'll be able to come in and get your oil changed and tires rotated, or the automotive program, and let your nails glow. That's a working title. It doesn't stick, but we're going to make it work. But you'll be able to come in and get a manicure and pedicure with our nail technician program. All of our seniors who are in this program are running it like a business. If you call, they're the managers. They book appointments, customer service, take care of payments, just as if they were at a real job, to give them that experience. Because again, when they leave RCA, they'll be able to put on their resume that they ran a small business here and while they were a senior in school. So we're really excited to launch all those small businesses. And lastly, I have a little surprise that we just found out a confirmation last week that at GPTC, they are building an EV dual enrollment program, and they made an electric vehicle partner. And I gave them a tour of RCA 2 weeks ago, and they said they wanted to donate us a free vehicle. So RCA will be partnering with Rivian, who makes electric cars, SUVs, and trucks. And they said they're going to donate a free Rivian SUV and all their diagnostic equipment, because they really wanted us to get a leg up on EV maintenance and also electrification. So we're really excited to partner with Rivian. And at the end, I always like to share that even though I am the principal, I couldn't do this without my amazing staff, my APs, my cafeteria workers, my janitorial staff that makes RCA an amazing place. And I want to thank all of y'all for the opportunities, cabinet members. Anytime I call y'all to ask for something, y'all always pick up the phone. So I really appreciate you, my parents, and also my students that may be watching. Thank y'all so much.
Well, we'd like to thank Lorraine Elementary School and our scholar, Mr. Christian Evans, for all the things that you said and did, and Mr. Dr. Cora Williams, thank you for all the great things you and your staff is doing over at RCA. Ms. Chester, please introduce your cabinet members to provide their updates.
Well, let's keep the good news going then tonight. Board members, Chairwoman Jackson led, Vice Chairwoman Jones, and board members. And to our guest, we have our Chief Community Relations Officer, Ms. Cindy Ball, with some continued good news tonight.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Chester, and good evening, Board Chair Jackson-Lett, Vice Chair Jones, board members, and guests. It is so nice to have a full house again. So we're very excited that our parents and our students are here with us. And as you can tell, RCA is a great one to start off with in our school presentations each year. And he never, ever says no when I say, will you be the first one in August? And he's like, I'm there. So thank you very much, Dr. Williams, for that, and always being the first to go. We're going to start this year. We're going to introduce our Community Relations Department slideshow here at our regular meeting. And really, a lot of this is just a recap of some of the good things happening in this system. Some of this is kind of, technical stuff that we keep track of, our social media. in our media relations. So we just announced all of our Teachers of the Year for the 2025-26 school year. And I can tell you that next week we will be announcing our finalists. So we're excited to do that. And then at the end of September, we will have our celebration and name our District Teacher of the Year. So students, please congratulate your Teachers of the Year at your schools if you see them. And just the next few slides are a lot of pictures. It was a very busy summer, and leading into the beginning of the school year, we had new teacher orientation, July 21st through the 24th. And you can see all of our board members and our superintendent and cabinet attended a lot of these functions. Here we are, again, all in the green shirts, so we kind of stick out in some of these photos, but our administrative startup brings together all of our principals and our assistant principals and our building leaders together to get us started off on the right foot. And our board members, we had some awards to give out to our schools along the way. So it was a great startup. And that rolled right into, I'm stuck, Michael. Oh, there we go. We had, oh, there goes. Michael, are you driving or am I? I'm trying to go back. I want to go to the back to school bash. So we had a back to school bash this year that was a collaborative effort between the city, the county, and the school system. It was a great event, and I can tell you the organizers met today to start to recap what we did this year and to start planning for the next one. So I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. The next one will be Saturday, July 25th. You can mark your calendar for the next back to school bash. So there you go, some photos in there. And this, there you go, leads us right into open house. Open houses, high school, early learning center. Again, these are a lot of photos, and we do put this online, but also out in our front lobby. So if you ever want to come by and look at all of these photos, just a compilation from around the district. Middle school open houses, and then led into elementary open houses. And you can see our board members and our superintendent and cabinet all visited open houses and our first day of school, which is the next few slides. So the first day of school, traditionally, we all team up, our board members and cabinet members, and make visits to welcome our parents and our students and our staff back for the first day of the school year, which was August 4th. And this is just a picture of our central office wall art. This month was provided by C.J. Hicks Elementary. You can also see we have a lot of upcoming events. On this list, it takes us all the way through to November. For those, and I know we have some high school kids in the room, so I will point out the RCPS Financial Aid Night in September, the Probe College Fair is coming up. So definitely want to put those on your calendar, and you can find those again on our website. Make sure that you attend those. Those are very important dates. All right, and with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about a video that we have now posted on our new websites. We introduced our new websites at the end of the last school year, and I want to thank everyone for their patience as we continue to develop them and get the links working. There might be some hidden ones here or there. And I really want to give credit to Michelle Kim, who is standing right here, who led the project. Yep. Because it is a huge project to, bring over 25 new websites online. And then I also want to thank our technology department and our DLSs at the schools, because everybody worked really, really hard to make sure that their school websites were up and running and had current information. So now it's about, continuing to make them beautiful and showcase and tell our story. And this is a video that it started, early last year, I think, Michelle, right? When it started. And the video was compiled through my department and Michelle. And our team also included Josh Kane, who was a Heritage High School graduate, 2025. And then it developed into, a very long editing process. And We relied on Grayson Turner to help us with that editing. He is a class of 2018, graduate of Heritage High School. He is in the movie and film industry currently. And so when we need Grayson's help for technical things like editing, we call him up and sometimes he'll say, well, I'm on a set right now, but wait until the weekend and I'll help you out. So we're very excited that we can always call on him. Our graduates, they have these technical skills. They're in the industry and help us out when we need it. And then also Alex Jones, who was a graduate of Rockdale County High School in 2025, was another editor on this film. So we're excited to introduce to you the I Am RCPS video, and you may see some people that you recognize in it.
I am RCPS. Every day is a new opportunity at RCPS.
I'm a problem solver. I don't shy away from obstacles.
I break it down, I find new solutions, and I keep pushing forward.
I am a critical thinker. I dive deep to understand.
There is no idea too big or too small to explore.
I'm independent and I work hard. I give my best effort and I never stop trying. I push myself because I know that the work I do today helps build my future for tomorrow.
I'm a collaborator.
Together we are stronger.
I share my ideas, I listen, and I grow with others.
My voice matters and so does yours.
I am RCPS.
I am RCPS.
I am RCPS.
And I'm ready to change the world.
And we want to extend our thanks to all of the students who participated in that, because it's not always easy to be on camera and sometimes it takes a little convincing, you can do this. So we're very thankful that they participated. So at this time, I would like to invite our board chair and whoever she would like to invite to join her down to do some student recognitions. The National Science League Institute of Competition Sciences offers online science competitions in various topics. Students answer questions on a national exam to score points for their team. The general science contest consists of 50 questions, and the biology and chemistry contest consists of 40 questions each. The exam includes multiple choice questions that are based on factual knowledge, as well as students' understanding of scientific processes. The time limit for each contest is 35 minutes and may be administered comfortably within one class period. Tonight, we will recognize students from the Rockdale Magnet School for Science and Technology for placings in the National Science League. We will bring each team up separately. The first group is the biology team, who won 3rd place in this national competition. And then we will bring up the 9th grade general science team, who also won 3rd place in the national competition. So again, these students are on the biology team, winning 3rd place in the nation. Daniel Nguyen. And students, if you'll stay up here in the middle, we will take a group photo when we have your whole group up here. Abigail Baker. Gabrielle Christie. Joelle Gale. Donnie Donald. Cameron Tyler. Sophia Zakharova. Salvador Cervantes. Evan Johnston. Michael Davis. And so they can join the first group and then stay for the second group are teacher advisors Tiffany Jones and Diana Kennan. Is Kennan here? Okay. College, of course, college. You can't miss the last week. Enough over here. And parents, just so you know, we will put our photos on our social media. You can grab them there, or you're certainly welcome to come up behind us and take photos all you want. Come on. Congratulations. Selfie with the teacher. All right, so we will ask our teacher advisor to stay up there, if you will, and we will call our 9th grade general science team members, Devin Swims. Francisco Rodriguez. Jakaria Bell. Alicia Henry. Gabrielle Gale. I'll let y'all catch up. Patrick Randall. Ricky Reed. Demir Edwards. Jaden Flagg. And Reagan McCambry.
Any more? Keep smiling, keep smiling.
Congratulations. Ms. Chester, do you still have? I wasn't sure if that was a separate group or in with them. Okay. The National Council of Excellence is a national award program created by the National Associations of School Councils to recognize student councils that maintain strong year-round programs and work to improve their schools and their communities through their leadership activities. The award is founded on the 4 tenets of NASC: leadership, service, engagement, and student voice, and provides broad recognition for worthy efforts of NASC member councils. To earn the National Gold Council of Excellence Award, a student council must meet rigorous standards. In addition to having a written constitution, holding regular meetings, and maintaining a democratic election process, councils must demonstrate excellence in leadership development, service projects, and meaningful contributions to their school and community. Being named a National Gold Council of Excellence validates and celebrates the time and effort that student council members commit to lead and serve in your school and community with the goal of making a positive difference. We have with us here tonight 2 schools who have won this National Gold Award for Excellence. It's the National Gold Council of Excellence Award. And we will begin with our Magnet School Council members who are here with us tonight. And I will say that the Magnet School Council has won this award for roughly 10 years. Yeah. First, Ari Foster. Savannah Giddens. Neil Sethi. And I believe they were in between teacher advisors, so I'm going to ask Ms. Baskett to come up and join in this photo. Okay, like I mentioned, we have another student council that has earned this top tier award from the National Association of Student Councils. Now, I want to say that in their award application, this council showcased a variety of achievements: community service through the Genes for Teens initiative, civic responsibility by encouraging participation in school-wide elections, school spirit through the planning and execution of homecoming activities, and leadership discipline with their officer demerit system. I also want to point out that the award of Magnet and Heritage that they have received, this gold award, was only awarded to 5 student councils in the state of Georgia. Yeah. And 2 of the 5 are from RCPS. Way to go, guys. All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a big group. First, we have our senior class president, Micah Browning. Senior class vice president, Nadia Harris. Our senior secretary couldn't be with us tonight, but Morgan McElwain. Senior class treasurer, Allison Chapman. And our junior class president, Sarah Diakatate. Our junior class vice president, Chloe Pennister. Junior class secretary, Dominique Barfield. Junior class treasurer, Michaela Johnson. Our sophomore class president, Taylor Slayton. Sophomore class vice president, Kennedy Lonan. Sophomore class secretary, Grayson Cobb. Sophomore class treasurer, Jaylee Sajor. And our teacher sponsors, Shaniqua Taylor and Candace Price. And our advisor, Keisha Williams. Congratulations. You grabbed the next group. Okay. I was wondering, I was like, where'd they go? All right, next we will recognize several employees for their swift and heroic response to a recent student medical emergency during after-school activity. While we will not share student health information, we can share that the actions of these employees made a difference in the outcome for the student and provided support for the other students and family members who were present at the time. Each athletic coach is required to complete courses in CPR, AED, first aid, concussion, and cardiac arrest in student athletes every 2 years. The Georgia High School Association requires emergency action plans that are engaged with all after-school activities. These employees knew how to respond and did it without hesitation. During the school day, all schools are now required to have cardiac emergency response teams, we call them CERTs, and cardiac emergency response plans. The cardiac emergency response team is a group of school staff members, at least 5 in each building, who have current CPR and AED training and are designated to respond to and provide CPR or use an AED during a cardiac emergency. All elementary schools have at least 1 AED, middle schools have at least 2, and the high schools have 6 to 7 across each campus. Please join me in showing our appreciation to the following staff members for their heroic actions during a medical emergency. Our Memorial Middle School boys basketball coach, Charles Moore. Our Memorial Middle School athletic director, Xavier Mann. Our Memorial Middle School and Salem High School athletic trainer, Deanna Penniman. actually teaching at Rockdale County High School, but a Memorial Middle School cheer coach and also a coach at Rockdale County High School, Lindsay Ezel. Our Memorial Middle School cheer coach, Nikova Summers. Our Memorial Middle School Bridges After School program, Latanya Saunders. Also from the Memorial Middle School Bridges After School program, Kim Lawrence. Our principal of Memorial Middle School, Dr. Christopher Stoudmeyer. And our principal from Salem High School, formerly at Memorial, Charles Chavis. While we're taking pictures, I do want to recognize Dr. Rouse, who's here, who does a lot of the CPR and AED training and make sure that all of our AEDs are inspected on time and that are working at all times. So thank you for your contributions as well. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
We will take a 5-minute recess to congratulate our scholars and our staff. Put the clock on the board. Uh-huh. Good night. Well, it's senior night in Rockdale. I mean, it is. Yeah. The time is now 7:48, and I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Do we have any visitors? No visitors? Okay. I would like to now to hand it over to Ms. Chesser again for cabinet updates and her personal update.
Hey, good evening again, board members. First up tonight, we have the Division of Leadership and Learning. And I believe first person up will be our chief, Dr. Nadine Givens.
Good evening, Chairwoman Jackson-Lett, Vice Chair Jones, board members, Superintendent Chesser, cabinet members, and guests. This evening, I have a wonderful team with me, and they are here to present what is a required presentation by the Georgia Department of Education regarding our targeted support and implementation schools, so improvement schools. So let's go ahead and get started. So the purpose of this presentation this evening is to go through the different components of identification once you become a TSI school. So one of the things that we do have to share with you are our district plan of supports. So what does that look like? What are the goals for our schools? What are the school improvement action steps and results? What is the school data? What are our school successes and our sustainability and next steps? So let's take a little journey into what is a TSI school. Just a refresher, it is a school where we look at underperforming subgroups. And what does that mean? We could have our special education subgroup. It could be our English language learners, also our economically disadvantaged students. And what it simply means is that as it relates to content mastery, our students are underperforming. And so for us, in Rockdale County in January of 2025 using our 2024 CCRPI scores. J.H. House Elementary and C.J. Hicks Elementary Schools were identified as TSI schools. And so our work began on January the 29th. We hit the ground running. We had an opportunity to meet with our district effectiveness specialist, and we began the journey together. And as part of that journey, we have to do what is called a continuous improvement team. And the team sits, we meet, we look at the data for the schools, we identify the goals for the schools, and then we create a district plan of support. So this is just a summary of the identification. So our TSI schools actually are, we're not a TSI, we're TSI schools. So our TSI schools are identified annually. And so there is an opportunity for us based on the 2025 data for schools to come off of the list based on the performance. And here we are, and this is just a breakdown of the identification and exit criteria. So when we are looking at our elementary schools, it follows a pattern. So the first step is they look at the content mastery. So if you do not fall within the category that would create an identification, then you are automatically not considered. So for CJ Hicks and JH House, they did not they met the criteria. And so then the next stage you would move to would be the stage 2. And stage 2 looks at progress or your closing gaps. So your progress, it looks at how your students are improving relative to their like peers, and your closing gaps are also based specifically within your subgroups. And if you are still meeting that threshold, then you move to stage 3. And in stage 3, they look at readiness indicators, which includes your Lexiles, your literacy, attendance. And so for us, again, we had 2 schools that made it all the way through all of the stages. And this is the exact data at the time that created this designation for our 2 schools. So at the time, and let me say that with the identification, you can be identified in multiple content areas. You can be identified based on different subgroups. And for both CJ Hicks and J.H. House, the identification was with our students with disabilities.
Thank you, Dr. Givens. So I believe Mrs. Chesser has committed to purchasing off that list t-shirts, and so we are excited. We're starting this journey with enthusiasm. It has brought us together. We have shared a very clear message with both CJ Hicks and House that you're not on the list. We're on the list. And as we're on it together, we will certainly get off that list together. And so you're looking at the district continuous improvement team. It was made up of a number of personnel across different divisions. And so you can see a very critical aspect of that even was human resources officer. Because as we went through that continuous improvement process, we talked about things about the impact of personnel. We also talked about federal programming and other aspects, as well as across content areas. And so the district plan of support goals are very similar or the same as the school improvement action goals. You'll see that in a slide later on. And so essentially we have committed to a 5% increase in the areas of ELA and math on the end of grade assessment. And so now, considering the A, the B, the C, the D, and the E, our priority is to increase 10 percentage points. So certainly if students with disabilities makes this gain, then it's definitely going to assist us meet that goal. And so you might be asking, why is it important to increase the percent of students with disabilities scoring 2, 3, and 4? The answer is very simple. When we're talking about level 1, we're talking about students who clearly did not demonstrate proficiency. Level 2, demonstrated partial proficiency. What's important to note is that for level 1, we do not get any points. And so we're trying to show that all of our kids can make that typical growth, especially our students with disabilities. And if we do that, we get 0.5 for level 2, 1 for level 3, and 1.5 for level 4. And so having said that, what is the plan of support? What are we planning to do differently? And the state was very clear that we could not articulate our plan of support by what we did for every single school in Rockdale. These schools have to be a priority, and we have to show what we're doing above and beyond. And so if you really think about it in that particular perspective, we're thinking about how we serve our students differently. We're thinking about how we will support our teachers and our leaders differently. And so the consideration of professional development, we have heard day after day this week from our schools how important it is to receive that professional development on co-teaching. I know that Dr. Simon's team earlier today provided some professional learning for teachers on co-teaching, which is very critical because in many instances, majority of our kids may be receiving their services inside of that regular education classroom. We are also focusing on specially designed instruction, which is essentially what's so special about special education, is how you adapt that content that methodology, and that instructional delivery. We're also providing professional learning on high leverage practices. We're looking at collaboration, instruction, assessment, as well as behavioral, social, and emotional supports. We are inspecting what we expect. Not only are we training, but we have an expectation that we are walking those buildings quarterly using that ATSI instrument. As an example, we will kick off our focus walks on next week. And so when we are commingled on that particular team, we will use that ATSI instrument, but we also have additional walks by which we will focus on inspecting what we expect to happen in those buildings. And so not only are we concerned about providing the proper support for our teachers, we're also supporting our fabulous leaders and giving them additional opportunities to receive technical assistance and support. So I won't spend a lot of time on this slide because it is exactly similar to our district plan of action, but I am going to ask the fabulous Dr. Browning to come and talk to us about CJ Hicks.
Good afternoon. So as stated, as we're working ourselves off of this TSI list, we want to make sure that we're keeping our goals in mind and making sure that we're supporting our teachers and our students in our building. So some of the fabulous things that's going on at the fine CJ Hicks is we're collaborating with our instructional coaches, our lead teachers to receive those high leverage practices and those specially designed instructions. We also participated in a summer training this year. So during the summer, our instructional coach, our LTEC, also one of our district coaches, Dr. Wanda Williams, she came to our school and we had a 3-day training. During that 3-day training, we were able to go over the SDI strategies, those high leverage practices, as well as we provided opportunity for our teachers to get ahead and start planning. Also, we're continuing with our professional learning communities, our PLCs, which is facilitated by our LTEC. We also have monthly meetings that's going on with our LTEC where the actual teachers and the co-teachers will collaborate doing PDs. And beginning actually Monday, we will launch our after-school tutoring program, which is called the Fabulous Falcons. And that's for our exceptional children, and that will continue through September 30th. So we are excited about the great things that's going on here.
And similarly at JH House, we are also providing training to our exceptional children teachers on high leverage practices and specially designed instruction. Our teachers also participated in summer planning and data analysis to review their caseloads and prepare for the year ahead and put supports in place even before the school year began. Our teachers are also attending an SDI book study every Saturday to dive deeper into SDI and talk about what that looks like in their lesson plans and how they can support their specific learners. We also just began this week an after-school tutoring program for our exceptional children that will last through September 30th as well. We have a during the day intervention tutor who is also working with our exceptional children. And that started the very first week of school and will last through September 30th with our initial phase of funding. And then we have been working with one of the instructional coaches for exceptional children who has been providing tremendous support to our teachers and also the teachers that they co-teach with on instructional planning and the implementation of specially designed instruction and those high leverage practices. And we are all about this work at JH House and helping our Eagles to soar.
Thank you. So in closing, to share the sustainability and next steps, of course, we have a commitment to continue working with our building principals and providing that ongoing professional learning. And then we also have that commitment to making sure that we're conducting that quarterly walk. So the fabulous work that's happening on Saturday mornings with specially designed instruction is only as good as the opportunity to sit down and engage with teachers during those PLCs to see it being applied to actually what's happening in the lesson plans and following it all the way through to the classrooms. Are there any questions?
So, these two schools were identified by the state of Georgia, is that correct? My question is this, we know that, it takes funding to run schools, but it also take additional fundings to help some of these special programs that we have. Are we receiving any additional funding from the state of Georgia or from the federal government to help us, with these programs that we're implementing in these two schools?
Yes, ma'am, we do receive funding. Each school gets $32,000. As you heard the principals say, they do have programs that are running through the end of September, and that's when the first set of money runs out. But they're also now in the process of budgeting for the upcoming year. So then that money will be able to then be used for the additional programs. So you saw the tutor, the interventions, we'll do the enrichments, the resources, even the collaboration with some of our district personnel. The funding is used to support that work.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a question. Thank you all for that presentation. First question, has the tutoring programs already started? Okay. What percentage of students identified are actually participating?
We have 100% of our students participating at JH House.
That's good.
So with our program, we had 45 applications that was sent out. We're still waiting on about 12 or 13 more to come back in for our program, but we are actively making phone calls to the parents so we can get that in. One of the issues where they were just concerned about the bus transportation, in which we're providing that as well. And so I think that was something that pushed them on over the edge to make sure that their students would be there in attendance.
Okay, what is, in both schools, what is the teacher to student ratio? Because you're talking about struggling kids, and then you're also talking about kids who may have some type of learning deficit.
Our groups are very small for our program at JH House. We have 35 students that are participating in the program, and we have 4 teachers, so each group has less than 10. They have around 8 students in each group, so very small groups so they can get the intensive support in ELA and math.
We have a few less numbers than JH House, but we do have 3 teachers that will be teaching, and we have 2 paraprofessionals that will be assisting with that as well.
Okay, and my last question, we want to make sure that the strategies that we're implementing, they're effective and they are actually meeting the needs of those individualized students. So how often are we monitoring the progress of those students? And then what, what are you using to kind of monitor that progress?
So we are doing SDI with our teachers, and that's a part of the plan. So when we wrote the action plan, we had to say specifically, what are we doing? So we have our specially designed instruction and our HLPs. And so as a part of the plan, there's a lot of intensive training that is happening, not just for our special ed teachers, but for our gen ed co-teachers who are supporting the work for our students. And as Dr. Smith-Dixon shared with you, we will be walking classrooms. And as a part of that walk, we have to use the ATSI form that the state provides. We will use that document. We are aligning it specifically to the goals. And then we're doing the feedback with our principals, with our teachers, to make sure that what we have in the plan is aligned to what we are seeing in the classroom. We will continue to monitor the data the way that we do monitor whatever quick checks that are being done during the week, whatever common formative assessments, whatever summative assessments, we will monitor that way. And also when we meet with our district effectiveness specialists, we are required to show and produce data, and we will unpack that data to see what might be working, what might not be working, and then adjust our plan accordingly.
Okay. So once more, so how often are you taking like the benchmark assessment to see where the students are? So we've taught this skill, now let's assess. How often are we doing that?
Okay, so we will follow the regular schedule as it relates to our assessments. However, schools have the autonomy, and in a lot of instances, we are doing the common formative assessments. We also have our embedded intervention blocks, and within those intervention blocks, schools are doing every 2 weeks doing assessments and then making adjustments. But I don't want to speak broadly. I want to make sure that our principals can speak to that directly.
And I did want to share as a follow-up, so engaging with Dr. Vaughn and Assistant Principal's Price team. We talked about how critical it is that this after-school tutoring doesn't exist in a vacuum. And so of the teachers sitting in that room, only one of those teachers was actually an exceptional children teacher. But that's no excuse not to make that connection with the teachers during the school day. So we talked about, we already have systems in place to progress monitor students. So we don't want to create an extra burden for the after school. We talked about the possibility of putting the kids who are in that program in a STAR report group that we can begin to track the progress of what's happening during that afternoon, as well as talking with the teachers from during the day to figure out what particular skills or gaps would be more beneficial to work on. I know they are working one particular day committed to English, one particular day committed to math, but it's a mixture. It's whole group, it's explicit instruction. That's a shameless plug for high leverage practices, but it's also small group and targeted instruction for individual kids. So there's a number of things going on.
And the teachers are also submitting plans for those after-school programs with the targeted skills that they're working on and how they're assessing those skills each week in the program as well.
And what I can say is a good part about it is our teachers that are actually teaching after school are our SWD teachers from during the daytime. So they're very familiar with the students. Those are the students that they serve throughout the day. And so they're already familiar with the STAR reports, where the kids are lacking at. So when they move into after school, they can keep fully supporting them there.
Oh, last question. Thank you all for the information. What's the time frame for the tutoring? It started when and it's ending when?
It started this past Monday at JH House, and it ends September 30th.
September the 30th, because it has to based on the budget cycle. But now, like I said earlier, our principals are currently working on their budget for the upcoming year, and then we'll be able to add additional interventions in at that time.
I think I'm not understanding. You say for the upcoming year. Now, do you mean the 26, 27 year?
For the 26, so just fiscal year.
Oh, okay, so
yes,
20,
yes, ma'am.
okay, because
So-
we're in the current school year, 25, 26. So it started this month and it will go up through next year, right?
So we had funds that were not released until the spring. And so those funds had to be used by September the 30th.
Okay.
And so now the new budget will now run us until,
And we're gonna get
next
32,000 more dollars. Is that what you're saying?
yes, ma'am, they
Okay,
are.
that's
50,
good.
I'm sorry, 50,000.
50,000
Yes.
per school.
Yes, ma'am.
Per school. Okay, very good.
Thank you all so very much for that information.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Pritchett, I believe you're up next.
Hard to do, see my distance and my reading glasses. Good evening, Chairwoman Jackson-Lett, Vice Chair Jones, board members, Superintendent Chesser, Cabinet, and guests. I am Andrea Pritchett, the part-time L4GA coordinator for the L4GA grant. The images that you see here around the Rockdale Reads logo is an example of some of the different initiatives that we've implemented under the L4GA grant. We are all familiar with our vision and mission for Rockdale County Schools. I want to share just a little bit about the background of the grant. We had 18 schools participating. Those 18 schools were our traditional schools. A little bit over 15,640 students participating over the 5 year of the grant. At the time when we started the grant and looking at where we ended, we were about 79% economically disadvantaged. And we are the second smallest geographical county in the state. However, I want to point out one thing about the grant. We were one of the few districts that had all of our schools to participate in L4GA. One of the things as you look at this particular slide, it identifies the goals of the state. On the left-hand side, you will see different colors, shades of to represent L4GA in 2017, the cohorts in 2019, another cohort in 2019. And then you will also see that there are different stripes on there that shows school districts that had multiple grants. And I will add that Rockdale County Public Schools is one of those that's highlighted in the stripes. We were also recipients of the 2017 Striving Readers Grant. That ended and concluded. They put out another grant application, and we were recipients of the L4GA grant. On the right-hand side, you'll see the goals of the grant overall, with the first one being foundational literacy, building professional capacity, looking at instructional quality, engaging our community and participating in the grant, and school climate. So from those, our initial committee took those goals and also developed our local goals to align with the grant. Our first goal was to increase the percent of students reading at or above grade level in grades 3 through 8 and 11, as measured on the ELA milestones by 5% by the end of the grant period. Our second goal, improve teacher content knowledge, pedagogy, and evidence-based literacy practices. Provide families and community with extended opportunities to engage with literacy and supportive strategies. And goal 4, improve the fidelity of implementation of our PBIS framework to create positive learning environments. Within the cohorts listed, and one thing that was very unique about this grant that we hadn't had before, a requirement was that we group the schools based on feeder patterns. So we started with our high schools, and we had to actually go back and look and talk to the principals to say, hey, here's what we would like to do. But also we had to have the principals to be on board from the middle school and the elementary schools. So there you'll see a list of schools that in that first cohort from 2020 to 2025 for Rockdale County High School, Salem High School. And then the second cohort started in 2021 to 2025, and I'll share a little bit more about that on the next slide. With the timeline, it was very ironic. I think we started working on it maybe November, December 2019, submitted our application in February 2020, and we all know what hit March 13, 2020. So we sat, we waited, we still had time, and then finally June, we were awarded the grant. So we had our first cohort, and then later on, the DOE still had money remaining, and so we decided to apply for our last cohort, and that's the way that all of our schools became a part of the grant. And that's also why you see the difference in why some of the schools started in 2020 and Heritage cohort started in 2021. At the top of the slide, you'll see the way that we were required to distribute the funds. 15% went to early learning, our birth to age 5. 40% went to kindergarten through grade 5. 20% to middle school, 20% to high school, and 5% to for grant administration. So this is the first time you all are seeing this information. The overall funding for the grant, we receive a little bit over $16.6 million over the 5 years. If you look at it, you can see that overall, our birth to age 5 received $2.5 million. And we did have 2 cohorts of birth to age 5. Our K-5 schools, a little bit over 7.7 million, grades 6 through 8 for both cohorts, almost 3 million at 2.9 million, and grades 9 through 12, 3.3 million for a total of 16.6. And these numbers are derived when we did it by the cohort, is based on FTE count. And so there's a certain formula that went into determining how much was allocated to each cohort. This is just an overview of some of the different expenditures of those funds. One of the first things we always try to look at is personnel. So we know about how important resources are, but I always say if you can't put the resources in the right hands who know how to use those resources in the right way, we have to always start with our personnel. So some of the things that's listed under our resources, looking at salaries and benefits. We did a high dosage of tutoring, which was a very high research-based strategy with Kumon. Schools had the autonomy to hire literacy coaches or instructional coaches to meet the needs within their building. At the district level, I'll talk a little bit more about this one, we hired a mental health therapist. Definitely saw that as a need coming back from the pandemic. Paraprofessionals. Many schools, especially at the elementary level, use funds to support literacy by hiring paraprofessionals. We had pre-K tutors working with Ms. Miller and her team. We had reading specialists for grades 6 through 12 that worked with some of our lower performing students who weren't meeting grade level targets in ELA. Of course, reading teachers are listed. I won't go through the whole list. There are resources, but there are some things that are listed there. Another major part, again, aligned with the goal of professional learning and building that content knowledge and pedagogy. So we had multiple ways that we supported professional learning, especially when it came to providing substitutes for teachers to get that learning or providing stipends for teachers to participate in things that were outside of non-contracted time. Then also community resources. You heard about Back to School Bash earlier. So we did provide supports to Ms. Ball and the community by providing supplies for our students to have back to school. We've done book distributions in several venues to make sure that we're putting books in the hands of our students. And then you see some things listed there under other ways we distributed community resources. The next few slides are just a breakdown, just to show a visual of how those funds have been broken down and spent as of June 30th. So this first slide is just an overall. If you look at it, you will see that salaries and benefits make up majority of the overall expenditures. This is for age birth to 5. Again, salaries and benefits make up the most, at most about 64% of the expenditures. And then looking at supplies and books as our next largest number of expenditures for birth to 5. For elementary, 46% were for salaries and benefits, 23% for books, and then roughly around at least less than 10% for supplies, web-based subscription licenses, and purchase services, where we're bringing in consultants to support teachers and students. Same thing for middle school. For middle school, we had roughly, what is about 52% there for salaries and benefits. And very similar breakdown across the board for all of our grade bands. And here's an example of a breakdown, for visual breakdown for high school. Personnel comprised of about 53%, with salaries representing 38% and benefits 15%. Web-based subscription and licenses at 17% and books at 10%. An additional requirement of the grant was to use required assessments. And one of the rationales behind adding additional assessments is because each district pretty much may have had a universal screener or something that they may have used, but by using these assessments, this is what the state used to pull that data to see how all of the different L4GA districts around the state were performing. The one thing I do want to highlight on this slide is if you look at K5 and 6-8, especially for our third graders through 11th graders, we had a change of assessment in 5 years to 3 different assessments. So it makes it a little bit hard now at this point kind of to go back to look and see how did our students really and truly grow over that time using that single particular assessment. So what I decided to do is really to go back and look at the matriculation of when our students entered in 2020 with the grant, started with pre-K, so that you can see where they currently are now in 2025, 2026. So when we think about our pre-K students, they are now our 4th grade students. We think it's 3rd grade being a very critical year for our students. So I said, let me start with 3rd grade. 3rd grade, those students are now in 8th grade. So if you think about that, they spent the last 3 years of elementary school and pretty much their first 2 years of middle school, that's what they've experienced as a part of this grant. So the only common piece of data I really could think about, and going back to tie to our first goal about increasing the number of students reading at and above grade level, was going back to look at the Georgia Milestone reading scores for the last administration that just occurred in May. We have several grade levels that exceeded that 5% improvement target. So we look at the chart. Does this one have a point on it? If you start with that very first column with me, you will see I put in that the students who are starting 3rd grade, that first blue line will be them in 3rd grade performance at 52%. Their 4th grade performance, or the percent of students we had reading above grade level when they were in 4th grade, was at 46%. When they were in 5th grade, they were reading as at 64.8%. And now in this past last school year, 6th grade at 53.1%. So that's kind of how to read the charts. I wanted to put all of them so you can see how have they matriculated and what those end results are. So while that 3rd grade group, as I said, is very critical, they didn't meet the mark of the 5%. However, when we look at our next group, our next cohort of students who started out in 4th grade, they showed a remarkable growth from 46% starting out the beginning of the grant to last year being at 66.6% of those students reading at and above grade level. Our next group, grade 5, starting out with the grant currently in grade, last year at the test time in grade 8. You can see there that they were at 63% starting out in 5th grade. And last year they were at 65.9, a 2.9% increase. There is no longer a test in grade 9 last year, so that's why you only see 3 bars there. But if we look at those students who started out in 6th grade at 50% and where they ended on the 8th grade test, they were at 72.7% at and above reading above grade level. And then our last group really to look at is those who are in 7th grade. And again, you will see some gaps there because there's not a 9th grade or a 10th grade milestone test. So we can see how they were performing in 7th and 8th grade. And then our last group, grade 8, when we started out with the grant to where they are, and they just took the 11th grade test last year. This would be our current seniors. So just to run through just a couple of other things along with our goals, we provided quite a few literacy resources across the board, from literacy kits, schools implementing reading goals for the students. I really love the one with the graph where it says, "Oh, bear, grandpa Sweet, and Sicily, and that's because y'all I'm trying to read. Y'all see my glasses. That was a lesson to integrate math and literacy. So it was across content areas and not just only in ELA. For goal 2, improve teacher content knowledge, pedagogy, and evidence-based literacy practices. These are just some of the different initiatives that we have provided professional learning to for teachers to participate in to increase their literacy knowledge. 2 different things, but I would say almost all of them. We did a different model, and that was providing dyslexia endorsement across during the day and gifting endorsement during the day, along with the guided reading. So just so you can see, I included this slide because I knew this would add a question may come up about how many teachers we have participated in the different trainings. One thing I do want to point out, even before science reading really became a mandated law piece, we had already started training teachers on science reading even before the pandemic. So you'll see that kicked off there in 2020, 2021, which means we also had to shift the training to be virtual. So we didn't stop it just because of the pandemic. For our dyslexia endorsement and screening assessment, you can see the number of teachers there, and it is a range of positions. It's not, again, it's just not the ELA teachers because we are all supporters of literacy. Last 2 here, reading endorsement during the day and our reading endorsement in the evening. You'll also see that there were teachers listed there to participate. Again, not just teachers, but we also had media specialists to participate. Goal 3, provide families in the community with extended opportunities to engage with literacy and supportive strategies. Here, these are just some of the things that we have done to engage the community. We talked about the Back to School Bash. We also partnered with Phoenix Pass to pass out resources. During the Frosty 5K, we participated in Parent Academy to make sure that they have and understand how to support their child at home with building literacy skills. We've also had Springs Fleeing Car Show, and we also provided resources. This one, I do believe, played a huge part in recognizing the importance of making sure that our students also have support for mental health. Ms. Juanez Miller is a licensed professional counselor, and we hired her starting in May of 2021 with the grant. Students were referred by school administrators, counselors, social workers, and parents. Across the board, 72 students received services, either individual or through group support. All students were seen once a week unless there was a student who needed to meet more frequent, such as 2 or 3 times a week. Some of the diagnoses initially were depression with or without suicidal ideation, anxiety, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, oppositional behavior, adjustment disorder, disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and grief. And all of those are things that we know sometimes when students have other things going on that they can't concentrate on the learning. So we felt that this was a very important part to add to the grant. Here's some examples of school and community literacy engagement. I wanted to put and include these because these are initiatives that the school did at the school level, not anything that was specifically done at the district level, but just to show how it flows from the school level, from the district level to the school level. And our 4th goal, improve the fidelity implementation of PBI's framework to create positive learning environment. One of the big things that was a hit with the grant that we learned out and found out about was the book vending machines. And it really is an incentive to support literacy and reading, positive behavior. Now hearing even about attendance as being a piece. But what students are able to do, they exemplify any of those behaviors, positive behaviors, they get a golden token, and they can go to the book machine and they can select the book of their choice. A couple of things that are very positive about having those, it allows the students to want to choose the book that they are interested in, create an excitement for reading, but they are also building their own personal library at home, giving students some access to books that they may not have previously had. One of the other things that we did with some of the grant funds, we also know that classroom design and building aesthetics can also be a foundation to student learning. So we use, some funds were used to support redesigning or retrofitting 4 media centers within the district. So here's an example of flat shows, tables and chairs. For Edwards Middle School, their circulation desk. Here's Memorial Middle School, their tables, some of their technology tables and seating. And then this one was a request that came in from Heritage High School and Dr. Armstrong about speakers for Spanish of native language, Spanish native language classroom. And I do want to take a moment just to read what he did share with me about his classroom. I'm very blessed to receive my amazing furniture. It is a combination of narrow tables, a kidney-shaped table, height adjustable desk, and hexagon low desk. This allows me to have auditorium-style seating where the students can come back and see as well as in the front. Additionally, the chair style allows students to sit backward and balance their laptops on the back. Moreover, they can sit on the backs of their chairs without breaking them since they are designed for that. I can place students in variable size groups with them hardly having to move any furniture. I can also provide small group direct instruction at the kidney-shaped table. There are 4 old traditional rectangular desks that I keep because they made the semicircle arrangement fit better. The students and I absolutely love the furniture, and it was a request because thinking about the dialogue that has to take place within the Spanish classroom. There was a major overhaul at Rockdale High School Media Center, and you can see some of the things here. But Readers Rock at Rockdale, and they actually posted information about it being good news. Partnerships were very important for the grant and was a requirement as well for the grant, but we had partnerships from our community partners, from Rockdale Coalition, the Kiwanis Club, our Conyers Rockdale Library in Phoenix Pass, Kumon, as well as some of our professional learning partners. A major one was Metro Risa and Kevin Brzezinski and Associates. So now, that question of we've had $16.6 million in 5 years. We've implemented a lot of great practices. And so the question now becomes about sustainability. So I kind of wrap my brain a little bit and just say, when we think about sustainability plans, we think about also low cost plans. So just throwing out some examples, funding diversification through general funds, Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV. Looking at partnering with community members such as our local agency, businesses, civic clubs, our PTAs, PTOs, also would be an example. Building capacity among our in-district literacy experts. They can provide ongoing professional development and instructional support. Reducing the dependence on external consultants while maintaining quality staff. And lastly, as I conclude the grant's remarkable 5-year journey, I want to take a moment to recognize the extraordinary team effort that has made these achievements possible. And I can tell you it has been a major, major undertaking for 5 years, and I don't think we've ever probably had a grant that long for the 4 or 5 years. So from the initial convening of school teams to work on writing their schools and district narratives and submitting the grant applications, shifting to virtual teaching and learning during the pandemic, to sustaining our commitment through unprecedented challenges, it has all taken a collaborative team effort that exemplifies the very best of Rockdale County Public Schools. Our success reflects the dedication of countless individuals who believe in our Rockdale Reads mission. Because when Rockdale reads, the entire community thrives. Thank you for your partnership, your passion, and your unwavering commitment to ensuring every student can read, learn, and lead in Rockdale County. This concludes my presentation. So thank you, and do you have any questions?
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Pritchett. Ms. Smith, I believe you're up next.
Okay, good evening, Chairwoman Jackson-Lett, Vice Chair Jones, board members, Superintendent Chesser, cabinet, staff, and guests. Tonight, I'll be bringing the final financial report for FY25, and the July reports. So we'll get started with FY25. The revenues for the month of June were $14.5 million. Year-to-date, we were at 223.3, and that represented 102.3% of the budget. Last year, it was 16.3 million for the month, 207.2 year-to-date, representing 103.5% of the budget. Expenditures were at 22.2 million for June, 221.9 million year-to-date, representing 100% of the budget. And expenditures last year were $22.1 million and 213.9 year-to-date, representing $104.3 million. So we ended the year in FY25. As you can see for FY25, our revenues exceeded our expenditures for the year. We were at 223.3 year-to-date, coming above what we had anticipated. So bottom line, we will not be needing the $3.7 million that we estimated from taking from our fund balance. As a matter of fact, we're adding to our fund balance by $1 million. So good news. Good news, tighten our belts. Where we came like right at our expenditures, but we had an additional about $5 million in unexpected or unbudgeted revenues. And so our fund balance and the year ending of the year was $24.7 million. Last year we were at 23.9. Excuse me. And for our assets, we were at $54,073,864. Liabilities were $29,396,156. Again, our fund balance ending at $24.7 million when we were anticipating just under $20 million. So feeling really good for the start of the year. Moving on to our FY25 SPLOS 5. SPLOS 5 collections ended in February 2024. The collection rate of SPLOS 5 was 127%. Revenue received was $108.4 million. Expenditures to date are $106 million, and the current fund balance is approximately $2.4 billion. We still have 5, and we have our new funds are SPLOS 6. SPLOS 6 collections are ongoing and will end in March 2029. Revenue received was 24.5 to date. Expenditures are 11.9, and our current fund balance is approximately 12.5. And moving into the new year, FY26, our final financial report for July, the revenues were $9.6 million. Again, that's the same as the year to date, which is 4.2% of the budget. Revenue last year was 9.5. Again, that was 4.4% of the budget for last year. Expenditures, $18.6 million for the year, representing 8% of the budget. Expenditures last year were 18.5, and it represented 8.4% of the budget. And the encumbrances for July are $1,088,405. Fund balance for July is $15.7 million. Last year we were at 14.9. Our assets at $37.6 million, liabilities are 21.9, and the fund balance again is $15.7 million. That concludes my financial report. Do we have any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. And board members, I know we've covered a lot of information, so I do promise to be brief. I do want to thank the team for coming out tonight to update you on our TSI process. And I'm sure you heard a lot of critical school improvement processes that they outlined today. But what I do want to underscore to our board members and those watching tonight is that that continuous improvement process applies to all of our schools. And you've heard us talk about the steps that have taken place thus far. So I'll remind our board that we started back in May. We had our leadership summit in which we outlined our district priorities, the A through E priorities, the attendance, the behavior, the content mastery, the development, and then the engagement. We went into the summer months doing continuous improvement summits with all of our schools, not just the 2 schools that are here today. And that was the time that they developed their school improvement plans or started the development of their school improvement plans. And they carried out that work throughout the rest of the summer. And then what I will say is as we started the first couple of weeks of school, we have spent this week meeting with each individual school team. We wrapped those conversations. I see Dr. Davis nodding her head because we have spent the course of this week really sitting down and hearing and talking with all of our school teams about the development of their school improvement goals. But most importantly, not just the goals, but the steps that they will utilize throughout the school year in which they're going to reach the goal. So when you hear Dr. Browning and Dr. Bond talk about those steps, that's in addition to the work, because we know that, you know, being on a TSI list, that's an added layer to the existing work that's already taking place. So we talk very heavily about those steps, about the work, and what we expect to see in all of our classrooms and the work that needs to take place with not only just our teachers, but our leaders. Because an essential part of this was talking directly to the leaders about the monitoring. How do we inspect what we're expecting in our classrooms and in the performance of our students? And so as a next step, I'll tell you that our school teams and our central office teams will engage in what we call focus walks. And so that is where we're going to go on all of our campuses and walk through those classrooms collectively together. We're looking for those common look-fors in all of our core content areas. We're looking for the utilization of those district resources that you all have provided to our students, making sure that they are teaching the expected standards that have been prescribed by the State Board of Education. So that is our next step. Our, like I said, our focus walks begin on Monday. That will take place between the end of this month and carrying over into September to ensure that we really are getting into our classrooms, making sure that that necessary instruction is taking place and that all of those things are aligned. So I just wanted to bring that up because, again, I know they talked about some of that work, but again, that's in addition to a lot of the critical school improvement processes that are already underway. So as a next checkpoint, what I did not mention, while we were meeting and having those conversations, those instructional conversations, schools were also administering the reading and math screeners to all of our students. So that's giving us some early information about where all of our kids are with regard to their reading and math levels. And so they are wrapping up that screening process this week. They are beginning to comb through that data as well, and they will use that alongside their teachers to make sure that as we develop that instruction, that it is tailored to meet the needs of where our kids are as compared to where we want them to go throughout the next several weeks. So just wanted to share those pieces with you, board, because when we talk about school improvement, that is an ongoing process. And we want to make sure that it is happening consistently and pervasively in all of our classrooms. Another next step that all of our teams outlined for us too is the piece about not only the interventions, but those safety nets. So all of them, as part of their school improvement plans, have outlined what safety nets and interventions are in place. Most of them have started. The during the day interventions have already started for the most part. A lot of those after school tutorials are starting or going to start after that Labor Day weekend. So we want to make sure that we hit those interventions and supports very early so that we can address some of the gaps and the needs that our students have. So that concludes my remarks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Superintendent Chesser. All right, the board has reviewed the minutes for all board meetings held in July. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for all board meetings held in July?
So moved, Justin.
Can I get a second? A motion to approve the July 2025 board minutes as presented has been made by Mr. Justin Kenny and second by Vice Chair Janie Jones. Is there any discussion? All in favor? The motion is approved by a 6-0 vote. Last week, the board voted to place numerous action items on the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the action items under the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, could we remove item 5 from that consent agenda? Is that the tan? Did I not look at it correctly? Is that not the tan, number 5? Okay, could we remove it?
We will vote on that separately.
Yes, we should.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a financial vote.
Okay, so now can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda 1 through 4, 6 through 13, with 5 being by itself?
So moved, Justin.
A motion to approve the action item on the consent agenda having 1 through 4 and 6 through 13 on one consent and then 5 a standalone. Any discussion? All in favor? The motion is approved 6-0. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matter? Oh, I'm so sorry. Now can we get a motion to vote on number 5?
So moved, Justin.
A motion to approve action, consent agenda number 5, Financial Service Division F-26 budget TAN. Motion made by Mr. Kenny, second by Ms. Jones. Any discussion? All in favor? A 6-0 vote. Okay, guys, let's try this one more time. Can I have a motion to vote on consent agenda 1 through 4 and 6 through 13? We did that.
So moved, Jamie Jones.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it a second time.
I thought we did just, okay.
I just want to make sure it's clear that the first time we removed it, but I wanted, now that we've removed it, that we vote on it.
We did that.
Yeah.
Well, we did that. Vote to remove it. Mhm. Okay. Well, anyways, we got a motion by Justin and second by Janie. All in favor? A 6-0 vote. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel matter?
Second, Justin.
A motion to go into executive session has been made by Vice Chair Janie Jones and second by Justin Kenny. All in favor? Any opposed? We go on to the 6-0 to executive session. Board has come back into open session. With no further business to discuss, do I hear a motion to conclude the meeting?
So moved, Justin.
Second.
A motion to conclude the meeting has been made by Mr. Justin Kenny, second by Vice Chair Janie Jones. The meeting is all in favor? A 6-0 vote. The meeting is concluded at 9:02. You all have a good night.